Hey guys, JB here from Alpha Wolf Consulting. I want to welcome you to the first episode of Spirituality and Me. And this is just going to be a series where I explain my understanding and knowledge, you know, from seeking to understand spirituality and, religion. And this has been a really big interest of mine, and just really understanding, what connects us, like what is life, what is the universe. And I really enjoy this is one of my most, like, personally my favorite topics, just because if you understand spirituality, you understand that in life magic exists. So with that, what I've come to understand, because there's a difference between spirituality and religion. Religion is a man-made construct of how to be spiritual. Spirituality is just the act of using your mind to connect with everything around you, with life, with the universe, with God. And, you know, we really got to understand, and this is something I've been really thinking about lately, is like religion, the stories in the Bible, the stories about Jesus. Jesus was a real person. Moses was a real person. Like, the things that happened in the Bible actually happened. We're finding this out. We know that I think it was the 40-day flood was real, like the Great Flood. Like, they're finding all this evidence for it. And it's not that, the Bible is word for word exactly what happened, but it's like this is first-hand experiences told, secondhand. So we got to understand that throughout life, all we know is what others tell us, you know, like from what, like, well, there's two. So we know from what others tell us, and from our traditions of passing on information and passing on knowledge, but also we understand through experiences. So, like, what is big is small, what is small is big. So to understand this is to understand that the stars in my atoms are the same, are made up of the same material. They work in the same way. So, like, the biggest things in life to the smallest, minutest little thing are inherently the same through a paradox. So, we got to think of life in terms of, these paradoxes of it's not one or the other. So it's not like, the Bible's right or wrong. It's right and wrong. Just like everything's right and wrong. There's no inherent right, there's no inherent wrong. Right and wrong is just our perspectives. So if we understand, religions, unfortunately, for thousands of years, the way we practiced, worship was between each man and his deity, his God. You know, I think up until like the 18 or 1900s, they still practiced like this in India. That's why they have so many different gods. Um, but, you know, the thing is that it went from spirituality of we all share this connection and this belief in, higher powers and being connected to things and our connection to nature, you know because we got to understand that, like, it's only ever in society that we're being disjointed from our connection to the universe. Like, it's only in society where people are trying to tell us that this is what to believe, that is what to believe, this is how to live, this is how to do. And what we got to understand, or at least what I've learned to understand, is that, like, all I need to do is close my eyes and I am connected to everyone who has ever lived. Do you understand? Like, if I am part of life, I am all of life. I'm not disjointed from life. So I'm not a separate entity in life. I am a part of life. I am a part of the whole system. But if we understand this in form of consciousness, okay, what is singular is also collective. So I don't just exist on my own. There is every aspect of the ecosystem of life that needs to exist for me to exist. I'm a part of it, not disjointed from it. But society will always try and tear us away from it and disjoint us to make us feel like we're not a part of everything. And the reason for this is because, you know, if I want you to buy my products, if I want you to follow my beliefs, if I want to control you, so understand, like, consumerism is just a form of behavioral control. You know, all these different aspects of, capitalism, communism, different aspects of society. We're looking to connect together, but when we focus on connecting together, okay, and when we hyper focus, so when we get tunnel vision on, life is just, the city, life is just work, life is just this and that, we get disjointed from our understanding of connection. So, a really important thing to remember is that connection is singular, okay? So, like, only I can connect to the universe for me. I don't need other people to tell me how to do it. All I need to do is ask myself how to do it. So, like, we got to understand that, in the Bible, Jesus, when he, like, I don't know it exactly, but when he realized he was God and he tried to explain it to the disciples, like, what you have to understand, because this is in every religion, it is exactly the same. All religions are the same. That's the funny thing. It's just different ways of expressing our understanding of spirituality and connection. So, like, the thing is when Jesus was trying to explain to the disciples, I am the Son of God, he wasn't, it's in the Bible, he wasn't saying, like, I am the physical Son of God, okay? All life is the sons and daughters of God. The trees are sons and daughters of God. The birds, the dogs, everything. So what we got to understand is what he was truly saying was a realization that I am made from God. I am God. Okay? Like, I am my father through DNA and genetics. Okay? Like, so there's a level of connection, okay, that remains. So I cannot be alive unless I am connected to God. Because God is the universe, God is everything. God is not just one abstract form of identity. Every form of identity is God. Whatever you can imagine, whatever you want to imagine. So, what we got to understand is that in this statement, we got to realize that for me to be alive means I am God. I'm not disjointed from the collective consciousness that is life, that is the universe. That collective energy, that frequency that's all around us at any moment. Because without it, I cease to exist. Because what makes up that collective consciousness, that collective energy, is the air, is the wind, is the solar radiation. It's other people, it's the animals, it's water that I need to sustain my body. Water is a form of energy. Hydrogen engines, hydrogen bomb. Okay? What we have to understand is that, like, I am the water, I am the air. Because as I breathe it, as I drink it, it becomes a part of me, therefore I am a part of it now. So, like, to understand this is to understand that in the Bible, okay, we'll take the Bible because I've never read the Quran. I know a little bit about, Hinduism and stuff. Like, how I identify myself is my religion is the religion of me. Okay? So I am God. So if I want to speak to God, all I need to do is talk to myself. Because if I'm talking to God and I think God is, I see him as the universe or in the sky or in heaven, whatever you want to, contextualize it as, like, if I'm talking to a third party, like, all I know and experience is that I am talking to myself, yet I am receiving messages. So this is something that I practice personally, and that I've noticed a trend that a lot of people do when they realize that, like, when I'm going through personal struggles, when I'm stressed, when I'm upset, when I'm sad, when I'm lonely, all I need to do is close my eyes and start talking. Maybe God is listening. Maybe it's just me talking to myself. I can tell you one thing, but I always get the answers. I always feel supported. I feel it. And that could just be part of my psychological construct, putting me in a different state of mind. But this is what spirituality is understanding how to transgress our compulsive urges to be able to choose what state we want to be in. Because I'll tell you this now, every day of the week, if God is real, if God doesn't exist, it doesn't bother me. Because the thing is I believe it does, like he does. Well, not he, but I believe in God as the universe. When I see God as being the universe, life, my ancestors, all those who have come before me. Every human that's ever lived has been God. Every human that currently lives is God. Every human that hasn't been, born yet is God. Everything is. So the way I contextualize it, through how I pray, is I think, God, the universe, life. Without life, I would have no breath. Without life, my heart would never beat. I thank my ancestors and all ancestors who have come before, for it's their guidance that I seek, for they have gone through true hardship. So for me personally, like, my heritage comes in the form of the Celtic tribes. So or Celtic, one of those two, south of France. Think of it as the Gauls. When you watch ancient Roman movies about ancient Rome, I come from the ancestry of the barbarians, the forest dwellers. So, like, for me, this connection, and this is why, one of the problems with religion is, to the Western world, Catholicism and Christianity destroyed any other belief form. any other heritage, which is bad. We lost connection to our ancestors. You know what I mean? And you see this so much, like here in Australia with First Nation cultures. They, because the Australian government from colonization tried to implement the Catholic and Christian belief of wiping out other beliefs and cultures, right? Like, there is generations now that are lost because they have no connection to their heritage, to their culture. Like, so that's what we got to understand is society seeks to take that away from us because it's hard for them to exist. Because if we believe in, our ancestry, our culture, like spirituality, whatever religion, like Christianity and Catholicism and, Islam and, Hinduism, they're not bad. But the thing we got to realize about them is they're artificial constructs made by men or women, but they're made by people, so we have to treat them as such. Most people who understand the Bible only understand it through the context of their priest or their bishop or the Pope. Like, not many people are willing to read it and interpret it for themselves and ask themselves what is true and what is false. But what we got to understand is the root of religion, okay, is in personal betterment. Even though the people who pursue that fall far short so much. Like, Catholic priests are pretty much all pedophiles. Mormon priests are pretty much all pedophiles. Like, it's corrupt. Man-made structures become corrupt. But what we got to understand is that the inherent thought and belief in making the Bible, the Quran, all the Hindu teachings, the yogic beliefs, the Buddhist beliefs, like, we gotta see the thought and intent that they're trying to get across, because that is how we can personally live our best life. For example, if we get consumed by society in all of the chasing glory, chasing money, chasing success, chasing, you know, like all these easy wins, right? And let's take sex, for example. Like, you know, if you're out, especially for a guy, if you're out there mistreating women, using them, lying, cheating, like, you're only destroying your own psyche. Like, we have to understand that for some of these things in the Bible, especially these beliefs, rules, thoughts, their values, like, they're rooted in what is the best potential for humanity. If there was a culture, what could be the best? How would people act if they truly were their best? And we got to understand is that it was written by men. So it's not it's not true in the sense that it's not complete. It's one perspective, or you know, it's many perspectives on many different things, but it's not the be all end all. So, like, as we've seen throughout human history, you can literally live in any way and live a great life or a terrible life. You can live any life. You could be a garbage man, amazingly happy, or negatively depressed. Like, you could be the president, amazingly happy, negatively depressed. Like, so what we got to understand is everyone has their own inherent karma, and this comes from the Hindu or the yogic belief. And the the misnomer about karma is that karma is a force that comes around and whips everything back into shape. No, your karma is your inherent nature. So, for example, my karma is not to cheat, steal, or take like the easy road. Like I don't ever want to take the cheap way there. Like if I do that, so if I cheat or steal, I'm disgusted in myself. I hate myself. So what we got to understand when we think and conceptualize karma is that karma is your inherent nature. What you inherently, like personally, not attached to anyone else, but what you truly believe as being right and wrong to you, you know, what you think is acceptable, what is unacceptable. So, like, you got to understand, like, when you do things that you don't truly believe in, especially when it comes to behavior where, you're lying, cheating, stealing, manipulating, mistreating people, violently attacking people, you're only destroying your identity of self. You're destroying your psychological construct of who you were, your emotional construct of who you feel like you should be. So we got to understand that, you know, in life, it's not that you have to live any way. What the true